So with it now being 2024, I wanted to kick things off in the new year by designing a brand new photography website. Obviously, I wanted to share some of that process with you guys here on the channel and talk you a little bit through my process for designing the website and, more importantly, the kinds of work that I wanted to put on there. I also want to share some new work that I've been shooting and talk a little bit about some of my favorite work that I've been able to put on the website pretty recently. One of my most popular videos here on the channel is actually a video I made several years ago talking about how a photography portfolio is one of the most important and easiest ways to get hired as a photographer. And I still stand by that, and today I still stand by that. I think it is a great way to share the work that you want to be getting hired for, and also kind of have a really nice look into the kind of stuff that you are shooting. For me, I put a lot of time and effort into my photography website, and I make sure that it's updated pretty regularly with brand new work that I'm shooting. And overall, it just feels like a nice, fresh, clean start to the new year. So I'd love to share a little bit of that process with you guys. Let's go ahead and dive in. So first things first, on my website, I wanted to design an overview page, which to me is the ultimate sort of landing page to anyone that might want to hire me or just to look at my work in general. I wanted people to be able to have kind of a bird's eye look into my photography and what it looks like in a very short amount of time. So I was very cautious to not add too many photos to this page because I feel like sometimes it can get very saturated and it's hard to tell exactly what someone even shoots because there's so many photos to look through. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten regarding photography portfolios is if you're going to add a new image to something like an overview page or a portfolio page, you definitely should take one down as well to keep things slim and trim. I didn't want to add any more than 50 photos on this overview page. So again, I really took my time placing the different images and really thinking about the kind of story that I wanted to tell with my photography. Now, overall with this page, I'm very happy with how it turned out. It has a really nice mix of mainly new work that I've been shooting. I think something that I'm really proud of is all of the work on my website, for the most part, isn't any older than about 3 years. So any work past that, it's not that I don't enjoy the work, but I don't feel like it represents me as an artist as well as the current work that I'm shooting now does. And that's a really good feeling. I think if you don't feel that every once in a while, maybe you're not growing or pushing yourself as hard as you potentially could. And this to me is really important to continue to grow as an artist. So it feels really great to have a lot of fresh and clean work that was all shot really recently here on the overview page. Now I have a good mix of portrait, lifestyle, some food photography, some interior stuff, landscape photography, obviously, and I love how all of it mixes together really nicely. And that's definitely another point I wanted to make regarding a portfolio page, is to really make sure that everything looks cohesive. And whether you need to shoot that all on one camera or just make sure that your editing style is consistent, that's really up to you. To me, I really focused on dialing in the color as much as I could, so that way I could really use whatever camera I wanted and get the same look and feel. Now, once I had the overview page dialed, I was able to kind of backtrack and start adding different collections to my website as well. The first kind of bin that I had on my website was called projects. And this is everything from commissioned work to personal projects, just a nice place for all the projects to land and for people to take a look through and browse. Now, when it came to actually selecting the projects that were going to go into this, a lot of thought went into this process as well. I wanted to make sure that each of these projects felt different enough that everyone kind of got a nice idea of the spectrum of, sort of the range of photography that I could do. For me personally, I love shooting a very wide range of different subject matter. And so I wanted to make sure that that was really portrayed here in the project category on my website. Now, there are a few recent projects that I'm really happy with here on the website. There's one recently I shot for this beautiful restaurant called Bar La Côte. It's a restaurant just north of LA, and I've been shooting a lot of new restaurants lately because of my love for food and cooking. And this, I think, really feels very fresh and clean and the style that I want to be going towards here in the new year. So I'm very proud of how that all turned out. The lighting was beautiful, and I really tried my best to capture the entire environment, but more with an editorial flair. So I felt like all of that mixed in together worked really nicely. I also shot a really cool running project out in the Alabama Hills, which is, again, another area just north of Los Angeles, probably about 3 hours north. And I shot my friend Carly, who's a really amazing trail runner. We shot some really cool stuff with some flash out in the desert with the mountains behind, and it was just a really gorgeous day. I felt like this as well was something that I haven't typically shot in the past, but it's definitely something that I would like to be shooting more of here in the future. Instead of waiting for someone to hit me up for that, I wanted to kind of create that work myself. So I felt like this project really turned out nicely, and it was something that I, again, wanted to focus on. So I really kind of put my mind to it, really fleshed the idea out, and I love how it turned out. Some other notable projects in the project folder include a really cool series of shoots I've done for this private airline called Arrow. That's been really fun to shoot on the tarmac with all the different planes. We shot a lot of different lifestyle photography and portrait shoots. And I felt like, again, this was all really exciting because it felt very in line with how I like to shoot nowadays. And overall, how I want my images to feel. Being able to shoot a commission project that really fits my personal style is, the dream goal for any artist. And I feel very thankful to have been able to shoot a lot of that work over the last year. I also have a few other projects for Oyster and Garmin. Garmin, most notably, was probably my biggest job last year, and honestly, probably my biggest job so far to date. Very fun shoot in San Francisco, and I was able to shoot alongside a really wonderful team. We had 3 shoot days, a couple different scout days, and it was all across San Francisco. So we shot everything from basketball to running to sleeping to dinner parties. And this work was really great as well. I felt like I was a little more commercial than I would tend to go, but again, I got the opportunity to really add my flair to a lot of this. And I feel like especially the color palette really kind of resonates with how I like to shoot and how I like my images to look. This shoot was one for the books, and it was just a wonderful time. The shoot for Oyster was also great. This was a really fun road trip style shoot up the coast of California. Oyster is a very cool kind of cooler brand from Norway, actually, and they approached me to shoot this really cool editorial piece, kind of documenting the different use cases for the cooler. So we picked a few models up who happened to be really good friends of mine, Colette and Michael. Thomas, myself, and the two of them, we road tripped up the Central Coast and shot some really cool lifestyle photography. I'm very proud of this shoot. Again, sticking with the theme here, it feels very in line with how I like to shoot nowadays, and stylistically, I really tried to make that shine through. I shot all of these on the GFX, which any chance I get to shoot on that, especially on a commercial level, I feel like the colors and the way that it shoots just really shine through. So I was very happy with how this shoot turned out. All in all, with the projects tab, there are quite a few different projects that I would love for you guys to go take a look. So if you'd like to go check some of those out, I would highly encourage you check it out on a desktop if possible. I'll leave a link down to that in the description. Now, the next area that I wanted to focus on was a travel section of some sort. I love to travel. I feel like it's very apparent on this channel that I like to be gone as often as possible. My girlfriend and I have been traveling a lot over the last year, so it's been really fun to bring the camera along and shoot some different travel stories. I definitely want to keep this section going on the website. It's very fun, and I think this is definitely more personal than any sort of commercial or advertising work. This to me is just fun, and I love doing it, and I love capturing my travels in a very, Sam-like way. So I really try to focus on shooting just what feels right. I don't put too much pressure on it, but I really love just kind of documenting the trips and just seeing where that takes me. A few notable trips that we took last year was a summer in Europe, which was wonderful. We were there for just over 2 weeks in both Mallorca and Portugal, and I'd have to say Mallorca is probably my favorite. This was just a dream of a trip. Beautiful days just spent on the beach, swimming for the most part, and it was just so fun to bring the camera along and document that entire trip. Spent a lot of time up in the Pacific Northwest as well, mainly Washington and Oregon. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Washington, and I spent a lot of time in the Portland area and also along the Oregon coast. So we did a few days of camping with some friends, and I documented that entire journey up and down the coast. That was also very, very fun. I would love to have some more travel stories here on the website, so I'm hoping to take some more trips here in the coming months. And even start documenting a little bit more of, my home here in LA. I have a section on there for Malibu, which Malibu is one of my favorite places to go in the LA area. But I'd love to kind of shoot a bit more of a travel story of, my home, like where I live. I've called LA home now for 6 years, and I don't shoot it as much as I probably should. So I'd love to kind of go about almost like a tourist and shoot some different scenes and see kind of how that all comes about. Again, if you'd like to take a look at any of these travel stories, those will be linked down below as well. Other than that, I pretty much just have an About Me page with some info and a way to contact me. But I like to keep my website really simple. I think this, to me, is the most simple way and the most straightforward way to display my work. Again, having a projects tab and a travel section, as well as a main overview page, feels just right for the kind of stuff that I want to be doing. And, if I have some more sections that I'd like to add later, I might do that, but I really do think when you're making a website, less is definitely more. You want to have very simple sections, very easy to digest, and also very easy to click on and kind of scroll through. So I've made it as simple as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed the website. Really would appreciate any sort of feedback that you guys have. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up things for today. Now, obviously, this website was built with Squarespace, and Squarespace is the sponsor of this video. Now, again, Squarespace has been just a massive supporter of this YouTube channel and myself as an artist, and quite honestly, just the most simple way to make a website. And it doesn't really take any sort of knowledge regarding coding or, anything like that, anything technical. You're able to just drag and drop certain templates, lay out different gallery options, and it makes it super simple and easy to use. To me, that's all I can really ask for from a website platform, and I'm able to, update galleries really easily, drag and drop different images, create certain gallery folders. It all just makes a lot of sense, and it's very easy to use. If you guys would like to check out Squarespace for yourself, there'll be a link down in the description to receive 10% off your first website or domain purchase. Thank you so much to Squarespace, as always, for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.